Each place we visit has much to teach us about the forces that built it, about its history, its culture, and its people. In this episode, I get invited back to Dumaguete, a place made of profound beauty and of the gentlest people, sharing the experience with more than 100 educators whose sacrifices and dedication have made them the country's most inspiring teachers.
Thank you very much. Welcome to Dumaguete. And this is Good Morning Dumaguete show. We have a special occasion recognizing 100 or so inspiring teachers. It's an honor to have several guests also. We have a former governor. We have a famous air safari pilot. And we also have an educator.
I was invited to Dumaguete by the Saceda Youth League, a group committed to leadership development and nation building, led by Dave Saceda. My arrival was just in time for a radio show aiming to promote the 3-day convention for the most inspiring teachers in the Philippines.
We have been running the program for the past 10 years, giving recognition to the ordinary teachers who have made inspiring and outstanding contributions to nation building through education and leadership development. And on this convention, we will be awarding the MITs as most inspiring teachers, and they shall also be conferred the title Professor ad Honorem.
I was joined by Dr. Deborah Wall, an author and educator from Australia, and former Governor Grace Padaca of Isabela, who is part of the selection committee.
This event in Dumaguete is very special because Dave has gathered all of them. I mean, imagine to be in a room of 100 or more inspiring
All
teachers.
over the country, yeah?
Yes.
Enjoy. Tell us about it.
Ellie, I'm very worried. I'm the only one that's probably not deserving because I'm not a teacher. But yes, I'd like to thank Dave for it. And I do this effort as well for aviation. I give awards to people to inspire them to work harder. Normally when people are recognized, they get inspired to do more.
It was a great morning discussion at DYEM, and I felt very honored to be a part of the next few days' events here in Dumaguete. It's nice to be back here in Dumaguete to meet new people and find new adventures. I'm excited. There is no denying Dumaguete's important place in history, but I feel that there is more to discover in this part of Negros Oriental. While here, I'll be staying in the town of Daryll, a 30-minute drive from the city. We were welcomed at Salaya Beach Houses, a peaceful tropical retreat that features luxurious beachside apartments. I got to chat with Carol, the resort's manager, about this hidden piece of paradise.
So Carol, how did Salaya come about?
Well, our owners, they've dived all over the world and they came to Darwin and had trouble leaving. So they decided to put down roots and to build a resort that has all of the services and the style that they like to enjoy when they go on a diving holiday. So that's how we came about. And we really are a world-class mecca for macro diving, and lucky enough to have the UNESCO World Heritage Park at Apo Island as well. And whale sharks at Oslob, not so far away.
That's right.
It's also perfect for families that just want a beachside getaway. You don't have to be a diver to enjoy what this region's got to offer. There are so many beautiful things topside as well as underwater.
How many rooms do you have here?
So our rooms, we have a total of 10. And 5 of those are one-bedroom suites of about 90 square metres, so they're enormous.
Quite big, yes.
And then we have 5 luxury penthouses, 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and 130 square metres. So, yeah, relaxing and just chilling out is a lot of what Salaya is about.
And even just for the day, to have lunch and they can just drive in and enjoy the beach and the view.
People come to enjoy the fabulous food at Dahon restaurant.
What is the specialty in Dahon restaurant?
Our cuisine is generally what you would describe as fusion cuisine. We try to incorporate the best organic ingredients that we can get on the island.
And also, I noticed all your staff are all very nice and very pleasant, and I think it's natural for the people in Dumaguete as well, huh?
Well, Dumaguete is known as being the city of the gentle people.
Right.
Dumaguete is such a beautiful place. It's small enough to still be very personal and friendly, but big enough to have the things that you might need to get out of a bigger city.
I mean, it's a quick flight and totally brings in a totally different world.
Absolutely, yes.
I've always felt that Dumaguete is one of the most underrated beach and diving destinations in the world. And I'm glad to be able to enjoy it again in this visit. That afternoon, I met up with Dave at the Foundation University, where the culmination of the 3-day event for educators all over the country will take place. Dave and the Saceda Youth League are doing some very impressive community work, and I'm very curious to find out more.
So tell me more about your advocacy about this youth league.
Well, the Saceda Youth League is more focused on youth leadership development, education, and of course, international exchange. I love young people and teachers to be organized locally, and then they learn from each other, the sacrifice, the inspiration, and the overflowing aspirations how to better the countries. Because that's basically what I think the Philippines would need, so that we can let our young people participate in nation building.
So Dave, how did the Saceda Youth League come about?
I was very involved with youth leadership programs with the YMCA and our short stint with the Ormoc 1991 flash flood. I was one of those students who was sent to Ormoc for that particular program.
I see.
And when I saw the 8,000 bodies floating on the bay, that struck me. So I thought that my life shouldn't be worth living for if I will not be able to serve humanity. So part of the ordeal is just to come up with your own organization, which is the Saceda Youth League. It's been there for the past 24 years.
When did you start this Most Inspiring Teacher Award?
Well, the Most Inspiring Teachers Award started in 2013. I've sensed that most of the awards of DepEd and other institutions are focused on the outstanding attributes of the teacher.
Right.
No one looks into the inspiration. And
that's what teachers are supposed to be. And so you nominate them and you have a group of people judging who is best to receive this award.
Yes, but now there's a national team handling the selection process. And every year we only allocate 30 slots for the most inspiring teachers.
I don't know why I was part of this, Dave. I'm kind of embarrassed.
the teacher is not just confined in the four corners of the classroom. And I have watched your program, the Asian Air Safari, and it has moved me. It has really inspired me. And one of the greatest things that you have accomplished, as far as I would know, is being able to bridge the gap so that people will understand what cultural diversity is.
Yes.
And the most important thing is being able to respect that differences in our culture. And you
Exactly.
have simply just put it all up in a documentary.
But I'm excited to meet all your other awardees and learn from them.
Yes.
Because I'm sure they come from different parts of the country and the world.
And we look forward to the convergence of all your sacrifices and struggles and inspiration. And that makes it very unique.
It was great to learn from Dave, and I expect to learn more as I meet the other teachers coming from all over the country to receive this distinction. Up next, Dumaguete's natural wonders become my classroom as I unlock its mysteries with one of the province's resident geologists. From all over the country, 142 past and present awardees of the most inspiring teachers of the Philippines gathered in Dumaguete. It was amazing to meet educators from so many different parts of the country and learn about their stories. In between the sessions, I also found time to do my own exploration. I had always been curious about Negros, particularly its rich geologic landscape. I got to talk to a young geologist from the Negros Oriental State University, Professor Mike Tubog.
I fly over Dumaguete, over Canlaon very often, and I see these nice lakes and wonder how did all this form?
Well, sir, these are actually a product of a very complex geologic processes that forms or shape these features. Just like an example of the Pulang Batu Falls, this is an example of a volcanic falls that has been formed because of various tectonic settings of Kabalin-an areas. With respect to lakes, specifically the Lake Danao or the twin lakes of Danao and Balin sa Sayaw, they were the so-called the crater lakes.
So they were craters before?
Yes, they were craters. So the Cuernos de Negros is a super volcano way back in, I think it's in Cretaceous or Jurassic period. And then a massive explosion which shaped the three horns of these mountains. The collapse or one of the remnant craters of this area formed or shaped the formation of
the Twin Lakes. But, there's still steam coming out of all these places, right?
Yes.
So how does that happen?
Well, since it is classified as potentially active, it means that the magma beneath this volcano are still in the process of cooling. So until then, this magma will still emit heat, geothermal fluids, and will seep in towards the fractures of the crust.
So do you bring your students on field trips and examine all these things while you're there?
Certainly, sir, because they need to have a hands-on experience of the geology of the area. They need to understand.
Did I join the field trip?
Of course.
So you will not give me a test, will you?
No.
So you might give me a test.
I will not be giving you a test.
I might back out.
Unless you want me to.
Professor Mike took this overage student to some of the geologic areas within the vicinity of Dumaguete. Our first stop is this otherworldly sight. Clouds of steam coming out from the rocks with a very unpleasant sulfuric smell.
We famously call this the Kabalin-an sulfur vents.
Okay.
This is a very famous tourist destination in Negros Oriental as well. So basically, this is actually the proof of the existence of geothermal energy here. So that's why we have the Energy Development Corporation extracting such energy to generate electricity for Negros and even Cebu and Panay Islands.
The area reminded me of the many volcanic vents in New Zealand. This one, in Palinpinon, is only one of the many geothermal sites here in Negros, and is a good place to observe the volcanic activity that continues to happen beneath the surface. Our next stop was the volcanic complex of the Cuernos de Negros, or the Horns of Negros. Its tallest peak is the potentially active Mount Talinis. The beginning of the trek to the Twin Lakes Natural Park took us to Kabalin-an Pond, which is actually a small, placid lake.
So Mike, the drive up here was very interesting to see the rocks and the views on the other side.
Actually, sir, this is just a start or the part of the general volcanic vicinity of Cuernos de Negros. Basically, it's, in a volcanic environment, sir, there are a lot of depressions.
Yes.
Since the area is being reshaped throughout the geologic time. And this depression will be filled with meteoric water, such as this pond that we have right here. Well, in the Twin Lakes, we might be having almost similar scenario or similar process that form or shape that geologic features, and we will be examining such later on.
Well, I'm excited to see it already. I see all these rocks. Of course, this all came from the eruption at one time.
Yes, it could be a product of multiple eruptions.
It's so peaceful and quiet. You know, all the trees, the water is very calm. So, what kind of trees are these?
They're actually Salix tetrasperma, or the Indian willow, sir. They usually grow in water.
Wow.
We continued on to get to the lakes, passing through thickly forested path.
So Mike, this is not a very simple hike.
Yes.
I thought I was very good in hiking until we started with these slippery rocks.
Yeah.
It's a good thing. There are handrails. Okay.
Finally, we get to the Twin Lakes of Balinsasayao and Danao, formed from a volcanic eruption some 10,000 years ago. Mike and I boarded a boat to explore the area.
Actually, sir, this is a crater lake. So basically, when the eruption happens, the part of the wall of the conduit the craters has been collapsed.
I see.
That's why you have observed some of these beddings which were originally deposited horizontal. They are already vertical or even inclined in position right now.
It's amazing how an explosion of a volcano can turn up to be something very scenic and beautiful afterwards.
Yeah, they are beautiful, but somehow we are hopeful that this will not be reactivated once again.
Mike explained that over thousands of years, these deep craters, filled with water from rain and stream deposits. The entire area of the Twin Lakes is also a very popular bird-watching site, as it is home to more than 100 endemic bird species. We soaked in the incredible natural beauty of the mountains and forests that surrounded us. It was like a trip back in time. As Mike explained, the forces that built this place.
All these are so interesting for me. You know, I was always absent in all my classes. It's only now that I'm listening to you very carefully. I think my teachers will be very happy if they watch me.
The final stop of our field trip takes us to the majestic Tulangbato Falls, where evidence of the Cuernos de Negros volcanic activity can also be found.
So Mike, this is totally different from what I have seen in the past. The rocks are colored red. Well, why is it? Is it because of sulfur?
Yes, that's because of the oxidation of the minerals of these rocks with respect to the sulfur content of the water.
So this water comes from where, actually?
Well, actually, the headwaters of this one came from the highest points of Puernos de Negros. But it's just so happened that this water passes through the certain areas of Puernos de Negros where there is a present scape of hydrothermal fluids. And it mixes with this water coming from this river. That's why it is concentrated with sulfur dioxide.
We also observe the beautiful rock formations beside the waterfalls.
This formation itself is the so-called the columnar basalts. So they are the product of cooling of a basaltic rock that are in contact with water while being deposited during the eruption.
The emerald pool of the falls, in contrast with the red rocks and lush vegetation surrounding it, is indeed a sight to behold. Professor Mike's insight into how these places came to be made the experience of seeing them even more meaningful. Up next, I get a review of Philippine history as well as some lessons on Dumaguete's breakfast favorites while paying tribute to the most inspiring teachers of the country. That morning, we went to the bustling Dumaguete Public Market, where all kinds of local produce can be found. From seafood, meat, and vegetables, to an array of goods for everyday needs. I met up with Dyem and fellow MIT awardees at the Painitan, a section of the market made up of breakfast stalls.
Dave, you chose the right place to have breakfast. This is my favorite place. But it's great that you're sharing with everyone.
Yes.
What is your favorite order?
So far, this will be the best choice.
Okay.
Puto and chocolate. And I also like this, what we call sari-sari. And sari-sari, it's a mix of coffee, milk, and chocolate.
Okay.
And I always pair it with our famous pandesal with egg and maling.
Pandesal for me too. I haven't tried that.
This is good.
Everybody that comes here, you bring around here as well.
I want them to taste and see the simplicity of the city. So early in the morning, Dumagueteños come over to have a sip of coffee and puto and chocolate.
And last time, I saw even the mayor having breakfast here.
Yes. So we sell puto, budbud.
And what's budbud?
It's glutinous rice wrapped in banana leaves. But sometimes may chocolate also inside.
Everyone heartily enjoyed their breakfast as the stall owners whipped up plate after plate and cupfuls of everyone's breakfast favorites. It was also nice to get to know the teachers and other awardees, while getting to experience an interesting facet of everyday life in Dumaguete. Another well-loved spot is a museum, filled to the brim with World War II artifacts curated by Mr. Felix Cata-al.
I was wondering, when did you start this collection?
I started picking up the things from the ground before I was 5 years old.
Before 5 years old?
Yes, because a lot of boys lost their marbles
Okay.
and they are in the canals.
Yes.
But I also found bullets, box magazines,
Okay.
grenades, and their helmet.
Felix's father was a policeman and part of the guerrilla movement. His uncle was one of the thousands of soldiers who died in the Bataan Death March.
And I made this as a dedication to him and to my father. And he already had the commendation from the President of the United States, signed by Harry Truman himself.
This area near Mount Talinis was a battleground for US and Filipino forces fighting against the Japanese. Negros was their last stand, so there were a lot of war artifacts to be found everywhere. Over the years of scouring the mountains, he has also helped the Japanese government locate the remains of 26 of their soldiers.
So with all these things that you have, what will be your dream to find, to keep as a real treasured item?
I have 4 sons and only 1 daughter.
Okay.
They can continue my legacy.
Yes.
And this is the poem I made.
Yeah, I'd like to listen to it.
It starts with this. Everything you see here has a story. It was my experience and my memory of how time flies. And quickly, without intention, you will become sentimental and attached. With care, my heritage and legacy will remain for 1,000 years, or maybe more for generations to behold. The joy of these treasures lie in the promise of a bright and long future, of giving the present an inkling of yesterday, of being mesmerized by the beauty, elegance, and grace of one's opulent era. It is a rare find, and it is timeless. So you open your eyes wide and see the world around you, because the greatest secrets lie in the most unexpected places, and those who don't believe in magic cannot find it.
Visiting the museum is a very interesting history lesson indeed. But I believe the real treasure are people like Mr. Cata-al, who values history and keeping a legacy alive.
Hey, I got a confession.
It was a big day for everyone as we gathered at the Foundation University for the awarding of the most inspiring teachers of the Philippines. I was in the company of educators from public and private schools, heads of colleges and universities, and teachers who would cross rivers and climb mountains to reach their students. They came from all corners of Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao, sharing one thing in common: the dedication, commitment, and perseverance to inspire and make a difference in their students' lives, even beyond the walls of the classroom.
Jose Marie C. Roa, pilot and presenter, Asian Air Safari.
Though hesitant to receive this award myself, it was such a great honor to be among the ranks of these heroes, and I'm very happy to see them get the recognition they deserve. Every place I visited and every person I met in Dumaguete had something to teach me. Seeing these places from the lens of their vast knowledge reminded me that the world is indeed our classroom, and that life is a continuous learning experience.
This has been your captain, Joy Roa. See you in the next
Asian Air Safari!